The automatic doors slid open with a tired groan as Leah stepped into the fluorescent-lit grocery store, her toddler balanced on one hip and a crumpled sandwich bag of quarters in the other. The little boy's cheeks were pink from the November wind, his jacket a size too small, the zipper stuck halfway. She kept her eyes low, almost afraid the cashier would hear the clinking of coins already rattling in her palm. Behind her, voices hummed, heels tapped, and carts rattled with abundance: milk, wine, flowers, gourmet cheeses. Leah tried not to look at them. She only had one thing on her list: baby formula. Nothing else. She prayed the quarters would be enough. She set the canister on the counter, her hand trembling slightly as she slid the bag of coins forward. "Sorry, it's all in quarters," she whispered, cheeks burning with shame. The cashier, a college kid with earphones dangling, sighed and started counting. One quarter after another clicked against the counter. A woman in line behind Leah shifted impatiently, the sharp click of her leather boots echoing like a metronome of judgment. Leah wanted to disappear. Then came a quiet voice, close enough to brush the edge of her ear. "Put it on my card." Leah froze. She turned, and standing behind her was a woman who looked as if she had stepped out of a glossy magazine cover. Long dark coat with a belt cinched at the waist, fitted jeans tucked into polished boots, and hair that fell in sleek waves over her shoulders. Her eyes were sharp, steady, but softened at the sight of the toddler clinging to Leah's neck. Leah stammered, I can't let you." But the woman already slid a black card across the counter with a casual flick of her wrist. The cashier's attitude shifted instantly, rushing to swipe it. The impatient woman in boots gave an awkward cough and looked away. Leah felt her throat tighten. The stranger leaned slightly closer, voice gentle but firm. "Take your quarters back. You'll need them for the bus, won't you?" Leah blinked, caught. Yes, she did need them. She swallowed hard and nodded, stuffing the coins back into the sandwich bag. She wanted to say thank you, but the words clung stubbornly in her throat, heavy and small compared to the act that had just unfolded. Walking out into the cold evening, Leah adjusted her toddler on her hip, formula tucked against her chest like treasure. The woman followed, not hurried, her heels striking confidently on the wet pavement. At the edge of the parking lot, under a flickering lamppost, the stranger finally spoke again. "What's your name?" "Leah," she said. Her voice cracked, betraying exhaustion she'd tried to mask. "I'm Vanessa," the woman replied, offering a faint smile. She didn't push further, just slipped her hands into her coat pockets. A sleek car, glossy black, beeped as it unlocked a few spaces away. Leah's breath fogged in the air as she tried not to stare. The contrast between them was blinding, her duct-taped stroller folded clumsily at the curb, and Vanessa's polished machine humming like a promise of a life Leah couldn't touch. Rehook. Because this is where Leah realized she hadn't eaten since yesterday. Her stomach growled so loudly she feared Vanessa heard. The toddler fussed, pawing at her shoulder. Leah murmured, "Shh, baby, we'll be home soon." But home wasn't warm. It was a one-bedroom apartment with a flickering kitchen bulb and an empty fridge that held only half a jar of peanut butter, a wilted onion, and a carton of milk gone sour. On the door, taped crookedly, the eviction notice curled at the edges. She thought of it now, icy panic tightening her chest. Vanessa tilted her head, studying her. "Do you live nearby?" "Yeah, just a few blocks. We walk," Leah said quickly, defensive, as if walking instead of driving was something shameful. Vanessa hesitated, then reached into her coat. For a second, Leah stiffened, unsure what to expect. But it was only a business card, black with silver letters that gleamed under the lamplight. "If you ever need help, real help, call me." Leah glanced at it. She didn't recognize the company name, though it sounded important, expensive, something corporate and unreachable. She slipped it into her jacket pocket, not planning to call. People didn't really mean things like that, not for women like her. But that night, when she tucked her toddler into bed under a pile of mismatched blankets, she sat at the small kitchen table staring at the card. The formula stood on the counter like a lifeline, yet her stomach twisted with hunger. Her hand trembled as she touched the card again. She whispered to herself, "She doesn't really want me to call. People don't. They just say things." The apartment creaked with the sound of neighbors arguing through the thin walls. Leah pulled her coat tighter around her body and pressed her forehead to the table. She couldn't sleep. The notice on the door ticked like a countdown clock in her mind. 3 days left. 3 days before the landlord locked her out. The next morning, her toddler cried when she gave him the last slice of bread spread thin with peanut butter. She pretended to eat too, pretending the coffee was enough for her. Her shoes, soles worn thin, soaked in the morning drizzle as she pushed the duct-taped stroller toward the daycare center. The woman at the desk eyed her late payment balance with disapproval. Leah forced a smile, cheeks stiff. By afternoon, she stood in front of a bulletin board at the library, scanning flyers for jobs. House cleaning, babysitting, temporary shifts at warehouses that required steel-toed boots she didn't own. She felt the weight of the business card burning in her pocket. She pulled it out, staring at the silver letters again, heart pounding. Could she? Would she dare? That night, when the lights flickered and died for the third time, Leah finally whispered to herself, "I don't have a choice." Her hand shook as she reached for her phone, digits swimming before her eyes. She dialed the number on the card, pressing it to her ear as silence stretched unbearably. On the third ring, a woman's voice answered, calm and polished. "Vanessa speaking." Leah's lips parted, words trembling on the edge of release. Leah's breath hitched, the silence between her and the voice on the other end stretching until it felt unbearable. "It's me," she stammered, then winced at how small she sounded. "From the store, I'm sorry to bother you. She faltered, throat tight. Vanessa's tone softened immediately, a shift that startled Leah. "Leah, isn't it?" "I was hoping you'd call. Tell me what's going on." Leah gripped the phone tighter, knuckles white. "I'm behind on rent. 3 days. They'll throw us out." "I'm looking for work, but..." She glanced at her sleeping toddler, chest rising under a faded blanket. "I don't even know why I called." "I shouldn't have." There was a pause, but not the kind that meant rejection. Vanessa's voice came steady, almost commanding yet kind. "Don't hang up. Meet me tomorrow morning. 10 o'clock. There's a cafe on Main and 4th. Big windows, red awning." "I'll be there," Leah whispered. "Why?" "Because sometimes people just need a chance. And I can give you one." The line clicked off before Leah could argue. She stared at her phone like it had betrayed her, then set it down slowly. The rain outside tapped the window, soft but relentless. Could this be real? Or was she about to embarrass herself even more? The next morning, Leah brushed her tangled hair in the cracked mirror, pulling it into a low ponytail. She dabbed concealer over dark circles, though the tube was nearly empty. Her blouse was wrinkled, the cuffs frayed, but she tucked it in neatly as though neatness could disguise poverty. Her toddler clung to her leg, whining. She kissed his forehead, whispering a promise she wasn't sure she could keep. "Mommy's gonna fix this." At the cafe, Vanessa sat by the window, sunlight pouring over her like a spotlight. She wore a tailored crimson coat, lips painted a shade to match, coffee steaming in a delicate porcelain cup. Heads turned when she walked in, Leah noticed. But Vanessa didn't look at anyone else, just at Leah, her gaze warm, focused. "You came," Vanessa said, standing to greet her. She brushed hair back from her face with an elegant flick, then gestured for Leah to sit. Leah hesitated, scanning the cafe filled with people typing on laptops and laughing over croissants. She felt out of place, clutching her duct-taped purse against her side. "I almost didn't," she admitted, sliding into the seat. Vanessa leaned forward, elbows resting lightly on the table. "You're exhausted. You've been holding everything together alone. I can see it." Leah's lips trembled. She swallowed hard, trying to hold herself upright. "I'm not asking for pity." "Good," Vanessa said firmly. "I'm not offering pity. I'm offering opportunity." She slid a folder across the table. Inside were papers, neat and official. "My company funds a program for single mothers, job placement, child care assistance, housing support. I can get you in. It's not charity. It's a start." Leah blinked at the folder, unsure whether to touch it. "Why me?" she whispered. Vanessa smiled faintly. "Because I remember what it felt like to count quarters for food." "Don't let the coat fool you, Leah. I've been where you are. Someone gave me a chance once. I pay it forward." The words cracked something inside Leah. Tears blurred her vision, hot and humiliating. She covered her face with one hand, shaking her head. "I don't even know how to thank you." "By taking it seriously," Vanessa said softly. "By showing up. Rehook." The stakes sharpened when Leah confessed almost in a rush. "We don't even have food for tomorrow." If they evict us, I don't know where we'll go. Vanessa's eyes darkened with determination. She pulled out her phone, tapped quickly, then looked back up. Check your account, Leah frowned. I don't have much of an account. Check, Vanessa urged. Hands trembling, Leah pulled out her phone. When the notification buzzed, she gasped. A deposit, enough to cover rent, enough to breathe. She looked at Vanessa in disbelief. You can't, this is too much. Vanessa held her gaze steady and unwavering. It's just numbers in a system. But for you, it's nights of safety. Take it, use it. Then let's start building something better. The weight of years of struggle seemed to lift slightly, just enough for Leah to inhale without her chest hurting. She whispered, You don't even know me. Vanessa smiled, the kind of smile that carried both power and compassion. I know enough. I know you're fighting, and that's all I need to know. Weeks later, Leah's life looked different. She stood taller, hair brushed and jacket mended. Her toddler laughed more, his belly full, his daycare bills paid. Leah worked part-time at an office through Vanessa's program, learning skills she never thought she'd master. The eviction notice was gone. The fridge now held eggs, bread, fruit, but the real change wasn't the food or the bills. It was the light in her eyes when she looked at herself in the mirror and didn't see defeat anymore. One evening, as she walked home, stroller wheels rattling on the sidewalk, she passed a man counting coins outside a corner store, his shoulders hunched in shame. Leah stopped, heart pounding with recognition. She reached into her bag, pulled out a folded bill and pressed it into his hand. Put it on my card, she whispered, her voice trembling but steady. The man looked up, stunned. Leah smiled softly. Someone once did it for me. And in that moment she understood the truth Vanessa had carried all along. One act of generosity can rewrite a life. The power to notice, to step in, to choose kindness. It was something everyone carried, hidden until the moment they chose to use it. The world didn't change overnight. But for Leah, for her child, and now for that stranger on the corner, it had shifted just enough to feel like hope.